Hey guys, what's up? I am very proud to announce my latest invention. I have a few inventions that I have in the books right now. This one has just been patented and I'm very, very proud to present it to you. This is the decompression tank. The decompression tank is, I'll tell you guys what brought it about. A while ago, when I was doing some sensory deprivation myself, if you guys look at what exists right now on the market, they're all over the place. Joe Rogan wound up talking about it. So naturally, I think a lot of people developed a curiosity for sensory deprivation chambers. So I did it, and I started noticing some things about it that were great in terms of the stress benefits, the magnesium, all that stuff. But I also noticed some things that were not so great. And namely, the thing that I noticed that wasn't so great was the fact that you're laying back on water. So if I could just describe to you guys, if I was laying down right here, the mechanics of it would tell me that what the water is constantly doing is pushing my body up. And since most people in general tend to have either some kind of a thoracic hyperextension or a hyperlordosis, what I found for myself personally is that this would actually exacerbate my hyperlordosis and that my kyphosis would end up sinking into the water. And I'd constantly be fighting with this loop. I'd constantly be in this battle of trying to hold a neutral spine while I'd be in this thing and failing miserably because because if I was floating there, I wasn't able to ground myself to anything. And so I'd come out of it feeling with, like my hip flexors, my deep front lines and whatnot, feeling substantially tighter. And so what I learned was that I wasn't able to do it as much. After a while, I kind of stopped losing faith in it because every time I'd get out of it, I'd feel a little bit tighter, I'd feel a little bit more off. And one day, I was watching a video on it again. I think I had watched something with Joe Rogan. They were talking about something related, that, and then they talked about decompression in the same podcast. And I was thinking, decompression. So if you start thinking about it, compression on our body typically as we're operating throughout the day is a vertical force kind of thing. Gravity's constantly pushing us downward in this fashion. And by gravity pushing us downward, our body in some way is going to eventually end up with more compression unless we do something about it, which is what functional patterns at the end of the day has a great deal to do with. We're emphasizing as much as we can trying to decompress the spine. And so I figured, okay, how could I use buoyant water as a way to form a passive form of decompression? Well, I thought about actually taking leashes at the bottom of a tank. This is when I visualized this concept. I thought about putting the leashes at the bottom of a tank and then filling that with buoyant water, and then you attach those leashes to your ankles, and then you're essentially having this buoyant water pull your body up in what's literally an anti-gravity setting, literally for how gravity is pushing us down. So I've been using it off and on based upon what my schedule's been really busy. We've been figuring out things with the filtration system, which is going to be a completely chemical-free environment, and it feels amazing. Once you do it, you do feel decompressive effects substantially. I theorized it, and most of the time when I hypothesize something, usually I tend to be right. If it's a general thing. If I hypothesize what part of my anterior oblique sling needs to connect with my right leg, that's somewhere where I end up making a lot of mistakes. But when it comes to general concepts, I tend to be pretty accurate, pretty spot on with things that I do. I visualized this a while ago, and I've been trying it, and we've had other people trying it, and they seem to like it when they do use it. It seems to be working pretty well. So this is going to be on the market here very soon. I'm actually going to go up there right now and show you guys how this contraption actually works in case you're having a problem visualizing what it is that I'm actually trying to explain with you guys. So essentially, it's almost like if you could imagine yourself grabbing a balloon full of helium and and there's something anchoring that. If you could imagine where the bottom of the string is, that's what we're doing. How does this differ with what do you call inversion tables? Well, inversion tables, you still have a friction on your body, and even beyond that, there's nothing in the atmosphere actually pulling your tissues in a particular direction. The buoyant water is literally mobilizing all your tissues vertically opposite of the direction that gravity is typically pushing you down on a regular basis. So it's some pretty neat stuff. Let's go into this tank and show you guys what it's all about. All right, so what I just did is I just climbed up this little ladder that we have here with the tank. It's pretty tall, so it's not just for short people like myself. It's going to be for people who are taller. So I just climbed up. I'm going to show you guys how this contraption is really going to work. So I'm going to climb in to the tub. What you guys are going to find is that this water is actually very buoyant already, and I'm just going to float inside of it. So I'm already floating. I'm not holding on to anything. You guys will see it's a similar concept to what you would find with the traditional sensory deprivation chamber. Now what I'll do is actually take one of these straps over here. This is actually anchored down to the floor. I'll take this strap right here, I'm gonna bring it around my ankle. You guys will see. Bring it around my ankle, hold it in place. Take this other strap, bring it around my ankle, set that in place on my ankle. And after I do that, I'm gonna just kind of set myself down. And you'll see here, this is actually going to pull our body downward towards the floor. So now this is going to be what enables us to create some passive forms of decompression. So I'll just pull that down, tighten it up, just enough to where I get about at neck level. Typically we would be doing this with a certain type of pillow, so it also decompresses the neck. I'll do this the same thing on the other side. You guys will see right here I have the strap. I'll pull that down. And really all this is doing is just tightening the strap to bring me closer to the bottom of the tank. And there you have it. There's other contraptions that we're going to have with this. We'll have wrist weights that we'll be putting to actually decompress the elbow joint itself by anchoring the wrist down. We will also, and having the buoyant water, it will actually lift everything up. So what's happening right now is actually the buoyant water is lifting me up. The more salt I put, the more decompressive effects that I get. So really what we're doing is we're giving a body a vacation from the gravitational force it's bombarded with on a daily basis. So whether you're sitting at a desk all day, whether you have a standing desk and you think that you're doing something with your posture, no matter what, gravity's going to be pushing down on you. And giving yourself this kind of vacation is a real great way of enabling your body to kind of get that length. And again, this is going to be very different than what you would traditionally find even out of an inversion table, because you can't really stay upside down for that long and still remain healthy. Or I could actually sit, or I guess just chill in this thing for about a good 45 minutes to an hour, and without any problems. This is actually warm to body temperature right now, so it's real easy to chill out in here. We can actually bring this up to even higher temperatures or lower temperatures with our filtration system and whatnot. So the filtration system, state of the art. We have everything from ozonate. We can actually ozonate the water. We have UV filters in there, and we have really good heaters, and it's a very user-friendly system. So pretty much all you do is you just stay in here, let the device kind of do its work. You just chill. You can sit here if you are a person that likes to meditate. This would be a situation that would be fantastic for meditation. If you're somebody who's doing meditation from a lotus position, you're going to build imbalances because gravity is still pushing down on you. While you're in here, if you wanted to reach a meditative state, it would be very easy to do that. It'd be very easy to maneuver that. Typically, I would be facing that way, but I kind of have to address you guys here on the camera, so that's pretty much what I have to do. I'm facing that way, but typically I would be facing in this direction. I also have exercises that I can kind of cover in here, but I'm not going to really go into that too much for this video. There's things that you can actually do to maneuver yourself back and forth through the tank that actually create even better decompressive forces. You can even anchor this thing at your knees. You can anchor it at your hips, depending on where you want more of the decompression. But it's a very safe way of doing it, and I'm finding it to be very effective. And then never mind the fact that you get the magnesium benefits and all that kind of stuff that comes with being in salt water, which is what we're in right now. Really cool stuff. Just the way you can really visualize it is just as if you were a balloon at the top with the helium inside of it, and you're just being anchored from the bottom. But the difference between you and a balloon is that your structure is not rigid like a string. You're actually more like a rubber band, and this is kind of stretching that rubber band a little bit further in that passive manner. So I hope you guys found this video to be a little bit more informative on what I've been working on. Be on the lookout for more videos in the future regarding this tool, applications of it, and explanations of what it actually does for body. Right now we're in the process of researching what it actually does. We're finding some pretty astounding benefits that people are finding with regard to pain and just in general stiffness with their bodies. So stay on the lookout for that. This is Naudi Aguilar reminding you to live intentionally and not habitually. Take care.